All right, mic'd up, Francesa on the Fan. Yes Network will be here till 7. We still have Rex Ryan. You'll hear from that. Taped it earlier today. We'll get to that. We'll also have some comments from Mariano Rivera, who had a tough time again today, but the Yankees did win 6-5 over the Angels. Mets 3-2 losers today. We now welcome in the quarterback, Mark Sanchez. Mark, welcome to the program. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
I just was talking with Burris. It's an interesting year. You, as you continue your development now, hook up with a couple of new guys, but very veteran receivers. How about the relationship when you're dealing with guys who are coming with the kind of resumes and the experience that Burris and Mason bring?
Absolutely. All three have played in the Super Bowl. 2 of them have had game-winning catches, and Plax and Tone have won a Super Bowl. So it's a really experienced group. They're sharp with their routes. They understand where I'm trying to put the ball, and they make you right.
You take a lot of input from them too?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Do they offer a lot? I mean, are they higher maintenance than a young guy would be? I mean, do they want a lot more input into the process?
I don't know. I think it's more of a discussion than just a dissertation, and
right.
Both ways.
They're not dictating, but they want a little input.
That's right.
Okay. How long does it take you to get comfortable with guys like that? First of all, with any receiver, and how about then guys who are very much set in their ways like these guys?
Usually with a brand new guy you never thrown to before, it'll take a couple times, just a couple days throwing the ball around. But these guys, I mean, day one, they know exactly where their landmarks are, exactly what their adjustments are on routes, and they've seen all these routes before. They were just called different names. So as soon as they learn the terminology, they can play faster mentally on the field, and that lets them play.
Burris is a guy known for being able to go up and also being extremely sure-handed. Mason is known to be a very classy route runner. I mean, that's his history. So, and then you have the explosiveness of Holmes. If healthy, that's a very, very impressive threesome.
Oh, absolutely. Those three could be the best around the league. And then you add Dustin Keller, you add LaDainian Tomlinson. That's a pretty good-looking group. You bring along Jeremy Curley, and we're ready to roll.
How about Curley? Tell me a little about him so far. Everyone's raving. Everyone seems to be talking him. There's always a guy who comes to camp they're talking up. This is this year's guy. So
this is the guy, and he's doing really well. He's got body control similar to Santonio, explosiveness similar to Santonio, and he's shown flashes of being a prime-time great player. And I hope that's where he ends up going and developing. But he's shown that he wants to learn. He's excited to be here, and he loves playing ball. So he's a perfect fit for us.
You played well in the playoffs last year, but the Jets, for the last 2 years, have bogged down a lot in the red zone. That's been they've kicked a lot of field goals, and some of it I think very much by nature, them wanting to be conservative because you were so young, and they had so much faith in their special teams and their ground game. So, and that's their mentality. This year, obviously, looking to expand things, and then they bring in a Tom Moore. How has Tom Moore made a difference? What kind of impact has he had on you?
Well, he's been great on just reminding me to keep things simple. And he said you got to fight boredom, fight getting lazy with your mechanics. He said Peyton was one of the best at it because he'd watch his film from the game, and he'd look at Tom and say, why didn't I take this easy throw? Why didn't I do that? And then the next game he would go make it happen. And he said that's one of the greatest players to ever play, and he would do the same thing. That was his routine.
So repetition is very important.
Absolutely. And just some of the route combinations we've changed, some of the things we've added, and the way he's talked to Dustin Keller about fine-tuning his routes, that's the only thing missing from Dustin's game is just that fine-tuning and adjustments on his routes, and he could be a Pro Bowler. So he's had a lot of input, and he's been great for us.
Plus, Burris is a tremendous red zone target.
Absolutely.
I mean, his size and he doesn't drop the ball. I mean, and he's had a lot of big catches in his life, and he is money in the bank in the end zone. I mean,
that's
he's
right.
very good there. I mean, that's why. I mean, clearly that's his deal here, and I'm sure he's going to become a favorite of yours in the end zone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a natural for that size is just an enormous factor. It really is. Getting big receivers. Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, he's like 6'9", the guy. With, he's 6'5" with long arms, so makes a big difference. It really does. How about you? At what point? And I watched this with Eli. And there, it seemed like a lot of the veterans on offense were a lot more vocal than your guys are. It seemed that Tiki was and Shockey was. at what point he stepped forward and kind of took over. You know, it's a gradual thing, but it's something that has to happen.
Sure.
Do you kind of sense that's coming for you now, or
Absolutely.
is it, you know, has that started already?
I think that's definitely started in, you know, the last year's playoff run, and then into this off-season organizing workouts, and then Rex naming me captain was kind of it, and it was just a reminder that, you know, this is your time. You got to go get it, assume command, and take charge of this team. And, you know, we're going to do as well as I do. That's just the way it goes playing quarterback, so I'm ready for that challenge.
You know, you're still very young in quarterback years, but, you know, it's now you've had a lot of postseason experience for a young player.
Right.
Very few guys. A lot of guys don't win as many playoff games on the road as you've won already in their whole career.
Right.
I mean, you've won a lot of playoff games on the road. Some guys never win a playoff game on the road. I mean, that's a unique situation. You've been through that a lot. You've had a lot of learning, especially in big spots in a couple of years.
Sure, and it makes me feel like I've played a little longer. You know, you extend your season by 3-4 games.
Yes.
That's huge, and there's nothing tougher than those experiences. There's nothing harder than playing in Pittsburgh or playing at Foxborough or at Indy in a playoff atmosphere. So, you know, the trick is to obviously still get up for those big games, but being more consistent during the regular season has really been my focus.
You've been a good road team, you know, the last 2 years. You haven't been a great home team. You know, you guys have had some trouble at home. You know, maybe it's the new building. Maybe it's just coincidence. You've had some down games at home. Not just you, I mean the whole team, especially on offense. Packer game, you know, some other games. The
Ravens,
Atlanta game, you know, a Raven. That's an opening game, so I guess, you know, and they're a good defense. But I mean, you have had some. This team has been a better team away from home than it has been at home.
Definitely, and I don't know what it is. We just have a mentality where, you know, there's only 60 guys or whatever that travel, and, you know, it's you against that whole stadium, and that's kind of our mentality, and that's the way Rex likes it. So if we just squeeze out a couple more wins at home, we'll be sitting pretty and hopefully get a home playoff game.
We're talking with Mark Sanchez, the Jet quarterback. We hear at camp, you'll hear from Rex Ryan still to come, and a couple other guys too, including Westhoff and a few more players. Before we say goodbye at 7, you'll also hear from Mariano Rivera about his day today. Mark, as you go through this, and you've had 2 straight trips to the championship game, and a lot is expected at a very young age. Does it feel like this is your time now? Does it feel like this is a now team and it's now time? I mean, in quarterback years, you're still very young. Does it feel like that, though? Does it feel like it's a now team and it's a now team, the way the coach talks, the way this team acts? They act that way. Is that how you feel?
Absolutely. It's the kind of veteran talent we have, and guys playing potentially their last year. Guys like LT, Derek Mason, Plaxico, who knows how long these guys are going to play. And for me, it's, you know, we got to do it for those guys, and we got to do it this year. And, you know, it's a heartbreaker to lose that AFC Championship game when you have a guy like Tony Richardson who's been to the playoffs, been to the AFC Championship, and never won it. So we want to correct that this year and give those guys a championship trophy and a ring.
What did you take from the Colt game in the AFC Championship 2 years ago? When you walked off that field, what were you thinking about?
You know, that year, I think this past year hurt more because that year I didn't even understand. I knew we were 1 game away, but it didn't register.
And last year, what did you feel last year?
And then we finally got there again, and it was just so heartbreaking because I finally understood how good our team was. We started to realize our potential in that playoff run, and we just let it go. And for us to come out flat, you know, like that.
Do you think you came out flat? You think that's what it was?
No question.
I mean, they came out and they were very physical. They were a very physical team, and they're a very good team. I mean, they're very good at home. They were a very good team, and they jumped you. I mean, they clearly jumped you, and they jumped your defense. I mean, they really moved the ball well coming out of the box. They did a great job early. Did you think it was a case of just being flat? You think it was that?
One, they were on fire that first half, and even when they're moving the ball against our defense, when anybody does, it's rare. But that's when the offense really has to kick into gear, and we can't go 3 and out. We can't. At least get a couple first downs, change field position, whatever, stop the momentum at least, you know, stop the bleeding. And we couldn't do it on offense. Special teams was bad. So we had to rally in that second half.
Does the rally mean something to you? The fact that you did rally, that you had moments and had opportunities and had goal line opportunities.
Sure. I think.
Do you take a lot from the fact that you didn't, lose that game 31-7?
No question, because we were down 21-3, I think, at halftime, which was the same score that Patriots game that Monday night, and then we ended up getting waxed. And for us to make that comeback showed a lot about our team, a lot about our heart, and it hurt so bad because it felt like we didn't lose. It felt like we ran out of time, and it was just it was tough, man. And hats off to Pittsburgh. They played a heck of a game, so it was a bummer.
What did you watch the Super Bowl?
Glimpses, nothing really.
When you see a quarterback like look now at this next generation, and you see that Aaron Rodgers has now. There's still Brady who's here and Peyton, but they're getting a little older now.
Right.
And there's the new wave, yourself and guys like Aaron Rodgers and stuff
Flacco
like
and
that.
Ryan.
There's a new group. There's and Ryan and Flack. We go down the line. There's a new group. You're in that group. There's a new group of guys, and Eli's already won a Super Bowl, and Rivers has had a lot of success. He hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he's had a lot of success. There's a new group of young quarterbacks. I mean, is that group talking the offseason? Are they close in the? I mean, is there that old quarterback club like there used to be back with Kelly and Marino and Boomer and guys like that? Do you guys have that kind of camaraderie, or is it different now?
A lot of guys that I have that I share agents with, so you see them at golf tournaments and stuff like that. So Aaron Rodgers and Matt Castle, I'm closer with those guys. You see them inevitably at the SBs or something like that, and you're always cordial. You're always asking about what their team's doing, how they're feeling.
There seemed to always be a quarterback bond in the league.
Absolutely.
Is that still there?
Sure. And, we're leaders of our teams, and we play a unique position, and there's not a lot of people that can really relate to exactly what it's like on the field. And so when you find somebody like that, it's fun to kind of pick their brain a little bit and talk.
And it's generational. You had Favre and what he brought, and then you've had Manning and Brady be so dominant, and now you have as everyone now will talk about Aaron Rodgers, he'll be the flavor, and he's a wonderfully talented player. I mean,
great player.
Yes, tremendously talented player. And there's a lot of good young quarterbacks in the league. Right? We were all saying that last year. There's a nice, good group of young quarterbacks in this league right now, which is the key to the league. You need a bunch of good young quarterbacks. There's a lot of good young quarterbacks in this league. Yeah, you need guys to play that position. Right. I mean, there's no question. There's a good group of young quarterbacks now, of which you're one of. Is a real nice group of quarterbacks now in this league.
That's good. We need to dominate. Our team needs to dominate.
Well, you've done a lot of winning already the last 2 years. I mean, to get to 2 straight without winning a division title too, and not playing a home game, which would be a different way. Did you find that you got everything you needed to get done in the off season? Quarterbacks were out leading. You're trying to lead. Workouts, this, that. Did you get anything constructive done, or was it a lost time those 130 days?
Oh no, I think we got quite a bit done with our lockout camp and then the Jets West camp. I think our kind of veteran leadership was great.
So you felt you got the work done at that time?
Unfortunately, I did a lot of that throwing with Braylon and Jericho.
Right.
So now we had 2 new guys. Thankfully, they're so good and talented, and they fit right in our system. But just being able to throw as much as I did, having Dustin for as much time as I had him to throw the ball around and just relax, go on vacation with guys, hang out, and make sure we're staying close and grab dinner here and there, see each other's families. That stuff's important when you get back to camp.
I think every quarterback has his guy. And it doesn't have to be a star. He's got his bailout guy. He's got his guy. Aikman had Novacek. Eli always had Steve Smith, who's gone now. You have your guy, your bailout guy, your guy who gets you out of that 3rd and 7, who moves the chains, who's your guy. I would think Keller's your guy. Is Keller your guy in your mind?
Well,
is he your guy?
He's been clutch for especially our playoff runs.
You look for him when when all's lost. Is he your guy you're looking for?
Sure, and he's such a big target. He's real natural running routes and stuff, and he's really working it. He's working really hard to improve his game, and he wants to be a Pro Bowler.
And I think there's that sixth sense with the guy you don't have to talk to. There's that guy, that one guy. I mean, you might hit your home runs with Holmes and hit your big plays, but there's one guy that you have that little radar with. You know?
Sure. I feel that already with Mason and Plax and Tone are your big play players, and LT's your security blanket. But Dustin does such a good job of finding me, especially when I'm on the run. So he's an easy target.
Are you as confident as your coach is, or do you find it a little tough? Do you find it ever tough to write to sign these checks that he writes? About we're going to win this, we're going to beat this one, we're going to beat this one's brains in, we're going to do